Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm going to be talking about my crypto goals for 2019. This is the week 40 update, and basically in this series, every 4 weeks I do a quick update as to my crypto goals. So basically at the beginning of the year, I set 5 different kind of goals. So I set 5 different revenue streams: masternode revenue, staking, trading, investing, and social. And I set a target nominally of $100 a week from each one. And then I'm tracking sort of throughout the year how they have been performing compared to our target. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. In the description below are the links to all the previous videos. So there's the initial kind of setup one, and then every 4 weekly update to date. So anyway, let's jump straight in and have a look at what's happened over the last 4 weeks, and also more broadly what's been happening over the last 40 weeks. So we're into the last quarter of the year now. So starting with staking revenue, you can see very, very low still. We had a little bit of an upswing kind of here, and it's sort of tailed off a little bit. Now, there has been a little bit of difference between staking and masternode. So I can see possibly by the end of the year, the staking revenue overtaking the masternode kind of revenue. The masternodes over the last sort of 2 months have really kind of declined. So right at the beginning of the year, we were looking around the sort of $25 a week. And I was hoping that, you know, if we had a sort of a climb up in price of the coins, then we could kind of get up to kind of 50, maybe towards that kind of $100 mark by the end of the year. Now, we've been set back by a few different things. We've lost our syndicate masternode along the way when there was a chain split. The Bulwark team walked out, and the price of the majority of the masternodes in our list has been very kind of poor. So the price has really kind of like curtailed the weekly amounts we're receiving. We're down under $10, well under $10 a week now of the 5 remaining masternodes. So I can't see, honestly, the masternode revenue picking up dramatically. If we get back to maybe $20 a week or something like that, I think that would be a decent end to the year. But as I said, we're into the last quarter now, so not that much time left for things to really kind of pick up. Metrics has been doing okay. It was one of the more expensive ones at the beginning of the year, and it's held on to a fair amount of its kind of value. A lot of the other ones have done pretty appallingly. Helix, which was only $30 masternode at the beginning of the year, has performed reasonably well as well, but it was such a small part of the overall experiment that we'd have needed that to kind of like have a massive kind of like increase in order to kind of affect these results. So staking, I've continued over the last sort of 4 weeks of moving from smaller cap kind of coins, which I think are more turbulent, probably haven't got much of a long-term future, into kind of larger projects. So I've been moving into Stellar, into Icon, Neo, other projects like that, which are larger cap coins, which I think have more of a long-term future. Now, a few of those stuff like Neo and Stellar, it's very, very low staking rates or inflation kind of rates. But I think in the long term, I think the price of the coins will hold up far better than some of the smaller coins. A lot of the coins that I'm actually staking, the smaller coins that I'm staking, are because I'm actually running masternodes in those. So I'm just taking the masternode rewards and staking those. So over the next sort of quarter, so the final quarter of this year, I will look to continue to increase my holdings in some of the large cap coins. So particularly Icon, I'm quite enjoying kind of Icon at the moment. I'm looking forward to also obviously Ethereum and Cardano launching proof of stake at some point. So Cardano, it looks like it's going to be launching on a kind of testnet, but you will actually get sort of proper kind of payouts for that. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I think probably Cardano and Ethereum may well go into the first quarter of next year before any kind of proof of stake is actually kind of live. So I'm looking forward to kind of staking those as and when, but they may not go into this experiment because this will finish at the end of this year. And so jumping over to the next trade, so we have trading. So trading's gone reasonably well. The last couple of months, I haven't done a huge amount of trading basically. The way I kind of trade, there are very sort of specific kind of sort of market conditions I look for. So I'm basically just trading some of my smaller altcoins. So I'm waiting for those to pump up in price. Then I'm selling those and buying back in when the price drops back down again. So a lot of these are a lot of these smaller kind of cap coins are subject to kind of pump and dump groups. So it's not uncommon for the price to kind of pump up, hugely, 50, 60, maybe 100% even, at which point you can take some profits, sell your kind of coins, and then if you want just the same number of coins, wait for it to drop back down, buy the same number of coins, and increase the amount of BTC you hold. So that's what I'm kind of doing. If there are coins that I'm staking, so stuff like Stellar maybe, or Icon, or anything like that I'm trading, what I will tend to do is buy back some more coins. So if I sell at a certain price of BTC, a certain total amount of kind of BTC for, say, like 1,000 or 10,000 Stellar, for example, then when the price drops again, I will buy back with the same amount of BTC. So I'll increase the number of Stellar I'm holding, or other kind of staking coins that I'm holding. So with the smaller coins, I'm just getting rid of those. I'm taking the profits in BTC. With the ones that I think have more of a future, I tend to be increasing the numbers of coins that I'm holding of those. But the trading has been a little bit slack over the last kind of like couple of months. I haven't done a huge amount. I've actually got quite a few trades on at the moment, so maybe in the next kind of week or so we'll see some better kind of like increases. But yeah, as I said, I haven't done a huge amount. I've been quite busy with other stuff, moved offices, work related stuff sort of outside kind of crypto has sort of taken a bit of kind of precedence. So I've been a bit busy and I haven't really had a huge amount of time to kind of study the markets. But moving over to investing revenue, obviously, we had this massive peak here. This was when Bitcoin hit that kind of like 14,000 odd kind of mark, and we've come down sort of quite dramatically since then, the last couple of weeks particularly, as Bitcoin's sort of fallen off of that sort of 10,000. So this area here was when Bitcoin was around the sort of 10,000 mark, and we've dropped down to sort of like 8,000 odd. We had a little bit of a spike back up yesterday, so we went from sort of 8,000 or sort of 8.1, 8.2 back up to about 8.5, 8.6. So it'll be interesting to see whether that continues, whether this is actually a little bit of a breakout upwards, or whether it's just like a little sort of like fake out, almost like a bit of kind of small amount of volume and then drops straight back down. So we'll see what happens with those. But the investing revenue stream has been by far the most profitable. We're still well in the black with that, so we've done pretty well with that. This particular portfolio, which is linked in the description below, has a fair amount of Bitcoin in it, and as Bitcoin has gone up, probably even at the moment, it's probably doubled in price since the beginning of the year at the 8,000 mark. And obviously when it was around the sort of 13, 14,000 or 13,000 a couple of months ago, we were in even a better position. But it's been a pretty decent year. So the investing revenue is really the sole revenue stream that's sort of like pulling the whole experiment up. And then if we jump into social, so this is basically just YouTube revenue. Back at the beginning of the year, I was doing quite a lot of masternode setup videos, and I had a link to Vulture, which is, I use their VPSs for my masternode, so I was linking to that, and a few people signed up, so thanks very much for the people who did. So I've included that within this. Now, right at the end of the year, I'll go through and I'll sort of add up any other kind of like sort of odd kind of revenue kind of bits and pieces that I've received that don't fit into the other ones, and I'll add them on. But I've got nothing major kind of going into this. It was really just looking at sort of social revenue, so advertising revenue basically from YouTube and stuff like that. So that's been very, very low. It's been by far the lowest, even worse than kind of staking, and I don't anticipate that going up massively. And then here we have the total revenue. So you can see the first sort of third of the year we were well under the kind of line. We're following it sort of up, but we were well under. Then we had a nice sort of second third of the year almost, where we were kind of above the line, and we just in the last few weeks, in the last sort of 4 weeks, dropped back below it. So this is as Bitcoin has gone from sort of that 12,000 plus kind of range back under 10,000 and then down to sort of 8,000. We've seen the overall portfolio kind of like decrease. So as I mentioned here, this is the investing revenue. It looks very similar to our total revenue because it has by far had the biggest influence, biggest positive influence on the experiment so far. So we are now a reasonably far below the kind of like the target lines, but an increase in Bitcoin back to the sort of 10,000, 12,000 would take us right back towards this overall revenue line. So I haven't abandoned hope that we'll be above the kind of line, above our targets by the end of the year. But if we jump into this table, you can see here's the different revenue streams and the total. So overall we're at 73% of target, so sort of 3/4 of the way there almost. A couple of, I think the last 4 weekly update, we were pretty much on target. The one before, we were a little bit above. So it just goes to show that a dip in price of Bitcoin and associated dip in the price of all these kind of other coins and stuff like that can easily kind of bring the portfolio down, but conversely can easily bring the portfolio back up. If you look at the individual revenue streams, so staking only 8% of our target, masternodes is about 20%, trading we're around 2/3 of where we want to be. I'm hoping that I can maybe bring this up nearer to the sort of like target by the end of the year, but we will have to see how much time I have and how things go. Investing wise, 2.65 times our target, so 265% of target. So it's done really, really well, and it's really helped some of these other poorly performing revenue streams out. And then social here in a last position, 6.3% of our kind of target. It was probably a little bit of an optimistic kind of target, to be fair, with the kind of whole YouTube thing, but I think worthwhile kind of like putting it in. I haven't done as much as I wanted to do on the channel really this year, but so some of this is my own kind of fault, but ad revenue's pretty low. So anyway, overall 73% where we'd like to be. I'm hoping that a little bit of a creep back up in the price of Bitcoin can push us back towards our kind of like goal in the next 4 weeks. So anyway, our target was 18,000. We're currently at $13,143. So just shy of $5,000 off our kind of target. But anyway, that's it for this update video. I'll just jump very briefly into here. So this is my coin accumulation kind of targets. It's not necessarily for this year. They were just sort of like some sort of like long-term kind of targets of coins that I think will do pretty well during the next kind of bull run. I switched out Icon a couple of updates ago, so I think this was in the last update, but I've increased the number of Icon reasonably substantially this last month. I've increased the number of Stellars a little bit as we've received some inflation rewards and other things like that, but most of the other coins are pretty much where they were 4 weeks ago. So no massive, sorry about that, no massive changes here apart from kind of Icon and, as I mentioned, a few more Stellar Lumens. Anyway, that's it for this update. Thanks very much for watching as always. Leave me a comment below, give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. I look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.